Hey, what is going on, everybody, and welcome back to another Dead Linger video. It has been a while since we have done one, and the time has finally come when we do another update on the Hotfix, and the Hotfix 10H has come out today on November 5th, about really early this morning. About 3-4 o'clock is when they were like releasing it. I don't know, I didn't read their Twitter until about 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, right after I got Ghost and all that, Call of Duty Ghost. And it's I didn't get around to it till about earlier today when I started playing it, and it's about 9:42 at night when I'm able to record now, since everybody's sleeping and I don't have to worry about everybody thinking that I'm weird for talking to myself. Anyways, here we are. Quick update before we get into it. Call of Duty Ghost. I'm not able to record it unless I use Fraps, and Fraps really kills my frame rate. DX story makes it crash, so I'm gonna try to work around that and see what I can do. Anyway, on to the Dead Linger. So the 10H has finally come out, and it is a huge update. A lot of FPS optimization and all that stuff. Now, again, it does improve my frame rate. I got about 10 to 15 frames per second more than I did before 10H, but there is still a lot of stutter and a lot of frame drops occasionally. But when it does run smooth, I do get 10 to 15 more FPS than I did before. And as usual, this game is an alpha, and everything is subject to change, and all bugs and glitches will be fixed and patched in later versions of the game. This is only Alpha 10H. It's only been in development. Well, it's been in development for over a year, but it released a year ago on October 31st. Alrighty, so I'll try to cover all the notes as I possibly can. There is a lot to it, and I understand if you don't want to sit through the video and listen to what I have to say and hear all this. I will post the description. I will post a link to the patch notes, and if you want to read them yourself, that's perfectly fine. I'm just here to let you know that the update is out and there is a patch, and I will read it to you. Sadly, I can't do a Morgan Freeman voice and impression, because otherwise I would. How sometimes I can't. I'm just horrible. I'm not even gonna go into impersonations. Anyway, the first thing we have on the list is an achievement. They released a new achievement, and all you have to do is play the game. That's it. Just play it before November 9th, and you'll get an achievement for the Halloween anniversary. And that's it. You'll have the very first achievement out of 237 achievements, I believe it was. And now we're on to the multiplayer changes. So for those of you who play multiplayer in this game, or are looking to play in multiplayer, this is going to be great for you, because there's been a lot of fixes and a lot of synchronization between the servers and the connections between the clients and the hosts and whatnot. So the first thing they list on here is tons of fixes to multiplayer, and we'll try to list them all. The general improvements to synchronization between clients. Survivors should appear in the proper position and generally move more fluidly. So before, it was kind of skippy when you'd see another person run around and stuff. So they're saying that it should be a little bit more fluid. Animations should be a lot better, and all that nonsense. Survivors will now see other survivors facing the correct direction. I'd never actually experienced this. I did play multiplayer like probably once or twice. Everything seemed normal. Nothing really out of the ordinary, but I guess sometimes they were like maybe running backwards when they weren't. I don't know what that is. There's big improvements to the spiral world generator. Have no idea what that means, but I'm pretty sure that's a good thing since it's for multiplayer. There's been a bug that was fixed where windows and doors would stay broken after reloading a saved world. Fixed a bug where some physic objects would pop up into the air on world refresh. Large improvements to long-distance travel in multiplayer. Survivors can travel further apart with less problems than before. Again, I never really played much multiplayer, so these I'm not too sure about, and I don't know. I've never experienced any of these problems, so I probably will not go into detail about which each one is unless I know for a fact what it is and what it means. The chat should now properly show up for host and client server equally. Survivors are now properly removed from the game and scoreboard when exiting a multiplayer game. A message now properly displays when a survivor leaves a world. Fixed an issue where survivors would sometimes stop showing any movement to other survivors. Survivors can now see the flashlights of other survivors. Oh, this is pretty cool. It's a nice step into being able to see like other survivors' clothing. You know, your friends' clothing if they put a new like a hat on, or a helmet or shirt, a backpack, weapons and stuff like that. So it seems like that's a good start. So they'll be able to see the flashlight. Objects held by other survivors will no longer drop repeatedly while being held. Names for other survivors will now only show up from 50 meters away, and when you're looking at the survivor instead of simply showing up when they're on screen. Survivors can now see other survivors opening and closing doors. Doors are synced better in multiplayer. Survivor ping now shows up properly on the scoreboard in all cases. Disconnecting from multiplayer has been cleaned up and should work much better. Improved host frame rate when client is joining a server. There's still some stuttering during the join process, but it is minimal. They'll improve this later. Fixed a bug where client servers would experience large terrain holes in farmland areas. They also fixed a bug where client's inventory was not being properly saved after rejoining a game, causing them to lose all inventory items. They fixed a bug where survivors sometimes would respawn all the way back at the center of the world, regardless of where they were, instead of closer to their corpse as intended. Large fixes to issues where hosts and client survivors would turn invisible to one another while still being able to interact with objects. The client survivors can now cut down trees, so I guess they couldn't before, so that's nice. Now they can all build houses and tree houses and whatnot. They also fixed a bug where buildings such as the water tower might have different rotation for each survivor. And now that was pretty much it for the multiplayer changes. They didn't say if there was any more. They did say they tried to list it all, so I'm going to take it that was it. And now we're on to the zombie changes. Now that's just nice. The AI, the movement, the animation was all, in all honesty, it was pretty bad. And after playing it, and you can probably even tell that the animation seems a lot better, and everything seems, more fluid. So the first one they have in the zombie changes is now animate their walks much better and no longer slide across the ground while animating. Tying into that, the zombies are slower. They'll be adding 2 faster zombies soon. The regular medium zombies will now move at 1.1 down from 2.5, and the starving zombies will move at 0.4 from 1. The zombies are now less CPU intensive than they were previously, so this will also help not only, well, pretty much it will just help with your FPS and your system, straining all your CPU and all that to just try to run the zombies AI and do all that. The zombies should now properly aggro on multiplayer clients, so that would also tie into the multiplayer changes as well. The zombie animations are now better synchronized across the multiplayer. Zombies should no longer be able to emit multiple zombie noises at once. This was an occasional bug that I had where one zombie would make multiple noises and it would almost sound horrible. The zombies should no longer hit survivors through walls. I also experienced this many times, and it was a pain in the ass. You stand behind a wall and the zombie will just be like, no, I'm going to hit you anyway. I am freaking David Blaine. Zombies should no longer hit survivors from far away. Again, I actually experienced this in the game, but it might have just been due to lag, because I was actually pretty far away, like really far away. You'll probably notice me even look back at the zombie if it hasn't already passed. I was a pretty damn good distance away when I still got hit by the zombie, but it was probably just due to the lag. The window climbing is a lot better improved. Zombies slide around and float much less when climbing obstacles. Zombies should now decide to climb over an obstacle or through a window much quicker instead of just walking into it for a while. I had this one. They were just kind of, zombies are dumb, but they were pretty damn dumb, just like, doorway, window, I'm just going to walk into it. Zombies should rarely, if ever, hang in the air or appear motionless after spawning in the world. Oh, that was weird. It's a raining man, but except it was zombies. You just see zombies floating in the air. Zombies now pursue survivors more aggressively once they've acquired a target. This is pretty good. I like that. Slow zombies should properly animate now. Didn't know they never did. Well, besides sliding around and just kind of being a little stuttery. So that should be fixed. Potential fix for zombies repeatedly climbing the same obstacle and never getting over it. So potential means that it might be fixed. Maybe some zombies will do it, but others won't. Potential fix for cases where invisible zombies may be present and be able to collide and attack the survivor. Never experienced this before, but hopefully that is fixed. It does say potential. Another potential fix is where cases where zombies' corpses may still move about and attack after they've been killed by the survivor. Zombies should no longer hover or hang in the air until the survivor gets close. Alrighty, so that does it for the zombie changes. Now we're moving on to general gameplay. This will be stuff for like hunger and animations and all that kind of stuff. So the first one we have on the list is now hunger will decrease at a rate of 0.1% every 3 seconds, down from 5 seconds. So it will now take 50 minutes to starve from 83 minutes to starve. They fixed a small delay caused by animations when swinging with melee weapons. Fixed a bug where survivors would be able to climb a ladder to infinity. I never experienced this, but it actually sounds kind of cool, and I would really love to experience that. A potential fix for a large frame rate drop sometimes encountered when interacting with doors, not necessarily fixed in all cases, and I did encounter that with this game, or in the game I'm playing right now, this world, that opening some doors and interacting with them did cause me to lose quite a bit of frame rate. Some fixes for large drops in frame rate when respawning. Additional fixes will come later. We fixed the bug where survivors would be stuck on a white screen after dying, most commonly encountered when dying of starvation. This did occur to me like twice, but I actually didn't die from starvation. One was suicidal death on accident and actually being killed by a zombie, but they said that it has been fixed, so that's good. Crosshairs now go away while interacting with or carrying an object. Not really much of a big deal for me. I don't know if that's to just up the experience with the game, but my crosshairs actually went away just by itself occasionally for no odd reason. Potential fix for a bug where the previous weapon from the last played world might appear in the survivor's hands after entering a new world. Alrighty, that does it for the general gameplay changes. Now we're on to barricading. General improvements to consistency of barricading is generally easier to barricade now. You can now pry boards off with mouse 2 or the right mouse button while holding a hammer. They fixed a bug where it was actually the left mouse button instead. Grab hand no longer shows up when looking at nailed objects. You can no longer melee while holding a nailable object and wielding the hammer. You can no longer melee while holding an object. The object will be thrown instead. This is still not fixed, actually. In this video, you'll see that I will actually always melee when holding an object, and I pretty much won't throw it. There was like one time when I did throw the object. Pretty rare. Some improvements on held objects, accidentally pushing through houses, walls, and other objects. When holding mouse button 2 or again right mouse button and dragging your mouse to rotate held objects, the cursor will no longer leave the game window, and this is pretty much for Windows users and multiple monitors, people who use multiple monitors, and occasionally my mouse will still leave the game window, but it's actually a lot rare now. We're moving on to inventory changes now. Items and objects shall no longer fall through the floor or of houses nearly as often. Some backpack items experiencing a squishy issue should no longer squish nor stay squished when equipped into the slots. I don't know what the squishy is about, but it actually sounds entertaining. Some GUI elements such as the inventory system have changed appearance a bit, particularly in contrast. It does look a lot better actually. The drop item box in the backpack now has a darker color scheme, so it's a little bit easier to see. Potential fix for overlapping items in the inventory. Another potential fix for an issue where backpacks would switch when switching weapon sets. Did have that, I think, happen one time. Not much of a big deal. They fixed the bug where backpacks would not display their tooltip when moused over the inventory. Added some simple numbers above change weapon set to show which set number you have equipped. So this was actually kind of helpful. Just in a very simplified way, it was very helpful. So we're going to go on to the world changes now. Large fix for frame rate drops when running around farmland areas. This was big because the crops would actually really make it laggy. The same with the barn house, that seemed to do it a little bit. Suburban neighborhoods now have more trees in them, and a lot more trees I might add, and I actually had trees inside the houses that I would chop down. It was pretty cool. Corn stalks have a brand new appearance. Sadly, we didn't get to a farm in this game, but maybe I might show some gameplay here. I'm not too sure yet. Farm crops, specifically cornfields, are much denser. Other farm crop fields like wheat, soy, cabbage have been removed for the time being and will return in a future build. Faraway houses now look much better, high resolution and more realistic than that ugly mesh texture, just a plain old cube mesh. It was just god awful to look at. Again, the game's an alpha, did not bug me, but it is nice that they made it a higher resolution. Some detailed objects have been added to the Swartz and office building rooftops. I didn't notice it. I did go through a couple Swartz stores, and I just kind of went in and left, fast. I just moved, and so I didn't get really much time to look at anything. Better ambient occlusion lighting has been added to many of the structures. It did actually look a lot better. So the structures, they actually looked a lot better with the ambient occlusion. Looked a lot better. Huge improvement to the content creation. The general stuttering when building new content as survivors travel should be vastly improved. Move furniture and other items should remain where you move them and no longer reset to its original position when rejoining a previously saved world. Fixed a bug where they could not rejoin a world immediately after disconnecting it. There was better memory cleanup. The interior water tower ladder now extends to the bottom of the tank, so survivors will no longer have trouble getting back out of the tank once they drop down into it. I did have that issue one time. It was kind of annoying, but it's kind of glad that they fixed it. Reloading an existing world or joining a multiplayer world will now properly show the correct cliff textures and other terrain textures. Now we're going on to the menu changes. There is now a view distance setting in the graphics setting menu. Setting the view distance lower can drastically increase frame rate and general performance. The default view distance has been lowered slightly, but you can turn it back up again if you prefer it. We will also add an even closer view distance option in the near future, allowing for even more performance gains on lower end machines. Worlds on the world list and delete world screen are now in more readable font. Worlds on the world list and delete world screen now include a timestamp of when they were last played. On the in-game escape menu, the game is not paused text has been moved down and now properly shows up on escape menu screens. Yes, we do have plans for a pause function in solo mode, so that's nice. Funny bits on the loading screen now change a bit at a bit slower rate. Fixed a grammatical, yeah. Shit, something like that. I don't know, now I'm trying to get my grammar right. a grammatical error on the loading screen. Damn you, Sandswept. I was doing good up to that. For new survivors, the configuration launcher should initially default the game to full screen instead of windowed. The TDL desktop shortcut is no longer pixelated or low resolution. Wasn't much of a big deal, I could care less, but for some reason a lot of people made a big deal out of that on the Steam forum, so good thing they fixed it, or else people won't buy the game because the shortcut resolution was low. Drop boxes in the options menu now have a cleaner look. Now we're going on to server changes. There's only 2 for this one. Console command save will force the world to save. The saving is already done, but this will just force it, so if you feel like it's going to crash and you're going to lose stuff, you can just console command save. They fixed an issue where the -8 coordinates would be, that's just an example, would be interpreted as +8, so minus would be plus, plus would be minus. Audio changes, they removed out-of-place breaking sounds that play when you run into a door. Miscellaneous bug fixes, the potential fix for the black screen only hands issues some survivors encounter when running in windowed mode. This fix will manifest as a brief flicker when initializing game in windowed mode. Never experienced black screen only hands or anything like that, so that's, I guess it's good that they fixed that though, because I do play in windowed mode at 720p just to help with recording and FPS. A potential fix for a rare, possibly obsolete, desired state int crash. Never experienced this, but potential fix, that's good. They fixed an issue where this local survivor instance would be lost on death. Fixed an issue where controls would lock up. You can now force close the game by typing quit or exit in the console. This is good for closing TDL when it locks up, otherwise it encounters a soft crash. And now we're moving on to known issues. Swapping weapons directly will cause the weapon not to equip properly. Until we fix this, you just have to re-equip the weapon again to make it equip properly. Not a big deal, you'll see me do it a couple times in the gameplay. Creating and joining worlds without closing TDL EXE can cause things to get a little crazy. We currently recommend rebooting the game between sessions. Guns not always reload or fire properly and are missing recoil, and this will be updated in the next one, which is 10i. This was just pretty much mainly improvements to your FPS and multiplayer. Throwing objects doesn't always work. We will soon fix this. As I was saying earlier, it wasn't really fixed. Dragging doesn't work. They will also fix this soon. Host survivors may experience some mild frame rate stuttering when new survivors are joining the game. They'll also be improving this as they progress. Some survivors experience black screens with hands and nothing else. We added a fix for this, but if you still experience the issue, run as full screen instead of windowed. You can also try moving the window frame, which may correct the issue. We'll be looking at a more permanent fix for the issue. Zombies are sometimes still appear in different positions for different players in multiplayer games. They'll be improving this later on. Sometimes the setting menus get overlapped or otherwise crazy. Just, again, as usual, press escape or done multiple times until, if necessary, to get back to the normal screen. There's a bug right now where you'll sometimes plummet to the ground very quickly when dropping from a ledge. Holding left control right before impact will mitigate some fall damage. Watch your step. There it goes. You can sometimes have phantom weapons or duplicate weapon in your hand when joining or rejoining a multiplayer game. The game and frame rate will sometimes stutter for a short duration, especially when coming up on a new town or area. Sometimes buildings will forget to spawn. Sometimes loot inside buildings will forget to spawn. The buildings want you to know they're sorry. If you experience this issue, curse loudly at the aforementioned buildings, and then start a fresh new world or continue onward to a new area. Lots of obvious issues that they're going to be working on. Welcome to Alpha, and bam! That is it, guys. That is the whole patch notes. It was pretty good. It's called the Hotfix 10H, the meaty multiplayer update. It was pretty big. It's a big update, and it's great. It's great to see how much they got done, and that's it. Again, I will post a link in the description if you guys want to read this yourself and not go through the whole video. If you're hearing me saying this and you sat through the whole thing, obviously it doesn't matter, but you can always check it out if you want to. Alrighty guys, that'll do it for this episode of a Dead Linger video for Hotfix 10H. I'm looking forward to doing another one. There might be a Hotfix 10HH if there's too many bugs, and then they'll patch it up really quick before they move on to 10i. Alrighty guys, if you liked this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, comment and tell me what you think. If you didn't, go ahead and dislike the video. Feel free to let me know why and see if I can improve myself any further, and we'll see you guys later. Toodles!